Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host TC, and today I will be reviewing the Gnu Gremlin. This board is equipped with Gnu's C3 camber profile, so what that means is it is going to be a camber dominant board with a tiny reverse camber section right in between the feet. What that camber dominance is going to do is it's going to give you that drive, pop, and power out of the board, where that reverse camber section's going to make it a little bit more foot steerable and just a little bit more maneuverable. This board comes in a 148, a 152, a 155, a 158, and a 161. I rode this board at Copper Mountain where it was a warmer day, but nothing like a scorcher or anything like that, where in the morning the groomers were perfect and pretty much fast as can be. Towards the end of the day it did get a little bit slower and kind of a little bit more beat up, but overall it was a very empty day, so we pretty much had the mountain to ourselves. I used my Ride Fuse boots and Jones Mercury bindings. This board is coming in at that mid-stiff where it is going to be a directional flex, where that nose is going to feel a little bit softer than the tail just because of that more set back camber zone, where that thing really is going to be where all your power is coming from. Now when we translate that straight into stability, it is a very stable board where it's nice and damp. Even in those rutted out conditions, I wasn't getting bounced around or anything like that. It was able to maneuver and stay fairly stable. Even though this board does have a shorter tail to it, it still loads up and ollies pretty well, where this thing does definitely have some snap to it, so you're gonna feel that when you put all that energy in. Now that being said, you don't have to really throw all your weight over that tail to get it to ollie. You can just kind of exaggerate your motion a little bit to get it to spring up for you. Now when you are landing on this, it is extremely stable, where even if you land a little heel heavy, a little toe heavy, it doesn't want to dig in a lot just because of that taper in the board. It's not gonna really allow this thing to sink on you. That nose constantly wants to stay up and stay afloat. Remember to like, subscribe, click that bell, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our scheduled programming. This board isn't going to be the most butterable board out there, but it can hold its own. I would say just keep in mind there is going to be some resistance, whether it being from the nose or the tail, but starting off with the nose, you do have a nice big sweet spot there, so when you flex into it, you don't really have to throw all your weight over the nose. You can pretty much go right to that contact point and it's going to hold you. Expect that resistance, but with that resistance comes a little bit of pop on the way out, so keep that in mind as well. When you're buttering on the tail, it feels very similar, might take a little bit more effort, and you do have a shorter sweet spot on it, so keep that in mind as well. But if you like the pop on the nose, it's gonna have that same amount of pop on the tail on those exits of butters. This board excels in the carving category. From those short carves to those large carves to even the Euro carves, this thing can handle it. Honestly, in my opinion, I think it's made for like a bank slalom, and that's where it excels, but it's gonna handle any size carve for you. It's quick edge to edge. You can really use this tail to power those medium to Euro carves where you can stand on it and really just trust this edge is gonna hold. There's really no top speed on it when you are on smooth groomers. If you do get into some bumpy terrain that's just a little bit too large, you might feel it, but you can still come at it with quite a bit of speed and not be too worried about it. Rider in mind. This board is designed for somebody either who wants to just challenge a bank slalom, or they want to go out there free ride and really hit every turn in the book. They're pretty much just gonna have fun on this thing, take it with speed, and be pretty aggressive on it. They're not gonna just be cruising around with the kids, anything like that. They wanna go fast and they wanna carve real hard. If you're looking for another way to get involved in the community, head on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP. We have a great video over there getting into it really in depth, so I don't have to waste your time explaining it now. I really enjoyed this board. It is that free ride board that is stiff enough to charge on, but it's soft enough to still be able to butter and have a good time on, not get too pigeonholed on just carving or anything like that, where this thing can handle anything, but it really excels in the turns and honestly in a bank slalom. When I took this thing through the trees where they had some banks in them, it gripped really well. I didn't have to worry about it trying to slide out or anything like that. Overall, super fun board that you can really just stand on this tail and really trust it. Comparable boards: the Ride Superpig, the K2 Excavator, and the Salomon Super 8 Pro. Recommended bindings: the Bent Metal Transfer, the Ride C8, and my favorite, the Jones Mercury. This has been my review for the Gnu Gremlin. If you're still board curious, why don't you go check out one of the reviews for the comparable boards.